Let's take a look at the anatomy of the electric guitar. So very much like the acoustic guitar, but we have a few other bells and whistles. So obviously headstock, neck, and body, just like before. We got our tuning pegs and we've got our posts, right? We've got our tree here, which on this particular guitar, basically what that does is it pulls the strings down. So it puts them at a level so that it hits the peg correctly. Without it, basically it would be too high, and when you're bending strings and that sort of thing, sometimes the string can pop out of the nut, or it can just not get enough contact where it has a really good sound. Okay, so there needs to be that connection. It needs to be sitting in the nut really well for that to happen. Okay, so again, let's go over some basics. We got the nut, we've got the frets, which are these little wires, and we've got the fret markers, and same thing with the top. Okay, the top of the neck. This is a bolt-on neck, so I mentioned that earlier, right? We've got the bolt-on there. We've got the places, our buttons where we put the strap on for the guitar. We've got our pick guard, which in this case it covers a great part of the guitar. These are called pickups, and what these do is these electronically take the sound of the guitar and turns it into voltage, which goes through the cable, and then that goes to the amp or your pedal board and then to the amp. But basically that's how to amplify a guitar. It has to have pickups in some way or another. Or a microphone, but usually pickups on electric guitars. The bridge. This little guy here is called a whammy bar, a wang bar, a tremolo, all different names for that, a lot of colloquialisms for that. These small little sections here that are on the bridge itself are called saddles. And there are 6 individual ones, and they can be adjusted. Usually on electric guitars they can be adjusted. On acoustic guitars, not as much. Usually you get what you get with your bridge. Okay. Now, if this didn't have the tremolo, it would have what's called a stop tailpiece, which is where it's just basically stuck to the guitar in some way or another, either strapped down or bolted or that sort of thing. Okay, this is called the tremolo, and it allows me to bring the pitch of the guitar down. You know. Okay, so we can use some, I don't have a pick here, but at the moment, right? But you get the idea. You can do some really fun things with it. That sort of thing. Okay, that's what that does. If you don't have one, that's totally fine. All right, this is our input jack, as our 1/4 inch input jack. It's called 1/4 inch because that's the size of the plug there. The back of the guitar, if you were to open up this plastic section here, you're going to find the inner workings of the tremolo system. You're going to see some springs back there. The springs where they're holding on to a brace which is screwed into the guitar so it doesn't move, and then you're going to see the springs attached to the bridge or the tremolo system, and that's what holds everything in place there. Underneath the pick guard, you're going to find the inner workings of the wires, the switches, the potentiometers. These knobs here are called potentiometers, also known as pots, P-O-T-S. And then we have our switches, okay? So depending on the guitar, most guitars, you know, from one guitar to another is going to be different in its configuration. So these are very loose rules, okay? Usually you're going to have some sort of volume on the guitar. Okay, and that's what that does, is any pickup configuration that I have here, it's going to turn that up. Okay, we've got a pickup selector, which in this case here picks either just this pickup, these two pickups, or just this pickup. Okay, that's what we call a 5-way selector. Now this is an old guitar. This is a 1965, and they hadn't come out with a 5-way selector yet. It's just a 3-way selector, but you can kind of get in between the two and pick both pickups. But nowadays, the Stratocasters, this is a Fender Stratocaster, will have a 5-way switch. The newer ones do. Okay, and so what that does is it allows me to switch through the different pickups so that I can have different tones. So for instance, So you can hear just from that little bit what I'm doing there is that I'm changing the sound according to the pickups. What's the right pickup to be on? It's up to you. Again, I want to try to emphasize this to you, and I'll probably do it in many, many, many videos, is that you're the artist. So depends on the song, depends if you're copying somebody, what pickup were they on, or it depends on what sound you're going for. If you're going for a bright sound, you'll want to, be closer to the bridge. If you want a darker sound, gonna be closer towards the neck, okay? And we can also use our tone knobs. Now in this case, it has 2 tone knobs, and that will allow me to mix some of these pickups. But essentially what we're gonna do is we're just gonna talk about tone in general. Basically what a tone knob does is it either brightens or darkens your sound. So we have this nice bright sound right now. Can't hear it a ton on that pickup, but let's do this one because I usually am not in the first position. You can hear a little subtle change there, but this one you'll hear a lot, and this is in the 4th position. This is the position that I use all the time with a Strat, and I have these wide open. I have everything on 10. The volume's on 10. Both the tone knobs are on 10. So listen to this tone. Okay. Now, if I adjust that tone knob here, it's kind of like I'm putting a pillow over the speaker. And so jazz players love that kind of darker sound, whereas rock players like that brighter sound. But again, you're the artist, so what you do with all this is really up to you. They're kind of like paintbrushes or different paints, and so you can do different things with them. So there is no right way. It's just we're just trying to work our way around the instrument right now so we have a basic idea of what's going on. All right, let's keep going.